Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Interesting conversation. First, I guess I should say hello, right? Hello, how are you? All right? Boom. This thing about the bro code, about black fighters being on PBC, whether the black fighters should stay over there, because Al Haymon is black, they're black, and the black man's going to take care of the black fighter, black. Because everybody talks about goddamn race out here on this social media shit. But there was a guy who came into my comments and he said something, and I thought it was interesting. So I said, let me make a video about it, because since everybody talks about race out here, I might as well do a video about it because it seems to be prevalent in the boxing community. But what he says is he can't wait for a brother in Wilder to start making that money he had missed all those years of slaving for Al. Damn. I don't care if you are my skin, but you ain't going to use that to do business with me. I think some of us are tired of being cornered by so-called smart brothers using race to cheat on their own people by isolating them more. We saw Tyler Perry do it. Don King did it. That stuff was limiting. Now Wilder is making more money per fight than he ever made in a decade in the name of race. I hope Tank wakes up soon. And I hate him toying with Turkey Al-Sheikh when he said, send me a car. That ego will not only make you poor, but regret all your life when all is said and done. He said a lot, didn't he? Let me take a sip of water because I get some interesting comments sometimes. And, I try to read them all. But there's certain ones that make me want to make a video based on what they said in the comments. Let me tell you something. Can't wait for a brother in Wilder to start making that money he missed all those years of slaving for Al. How much money did Wilder miss out on? Because Al Haymon, PBC, Shelly Finkel did not put him in position. That's my thing. How much money did Wilder miss out on because he was not being put in position by Al Haymon and Shelly Finkel too, but Al Haymon? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if Wilder really missed out on huge opportunities. The only one opportunity that Wilder wasn't able to cash in on was that crap with Anthony Joshua in the $100+ million deal for the 3 fights, right? But the zone rep came out and he said, look, man, it was kind of brash in how he approached the negotiations, and they messed up. That was his inexperience, and he messed up. So Wilder and Shelly Finkel, and let's say PBC, them walking away from that deal was probably, when you look at it, it's a lot of money, and it was for undisputed. But that means that things had to be really bad for them to walk away from it. But it's not that PBC didn't put Wilder in position. Eddie Hearn wanted to try to make the fight, but at that time, Eddie Hearn and the Zone, they were treating Wilder basically like he was just a dumb country bumpkin. And of course, AJ had a lot of the belts. They were really high on AJ, but they didn't treat them with the respect that he deserved as a champion. But as far as Wilder started to make that money he missed all those years of slaving for Al, I mean, Turkey Al-Sheikh, they weren't really bubbling up like that out there. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Hearn had that connection with Saudi. Matter of fact, the Saudis were putting up that money. But I don't know if there's anything else PBC could have done for Deontay Wilder at that time. They never made the Dillian White fight. If Wilder would have came over to the UK to fight, I think he could have made big money. So but I understand what PBC were doing, trying to control things in house, and make sure all the money stayed in house, and also at the same time, it looked like there was a lot of money these fighters were making more money than they would have made fighting anywhere else. So I don't know if necessarily the black man held down Deontay Wilder from going on to making huge money. I don't care if you're my skin, but you're not going to use that to do business with me. That's a fair statement. If I'm here to do business, I don't think I really would care. And I've done a lot of business, right? I don't give a shit about race. But I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I do think when you come across someone and there's that instant connection, something you can see. You have never met anybody in your life, but as soon as you put eyes on them, I think there's a certain level of comfort that people experience when they see someone who maybe look like them, or maybe they have a vocal signature like theirs, or maybe they pull up and the music's playing or something that they like listening to. But there's got to be some kind of commonality there that I think can make you more comfortable when you first meet somebody and you're dealing with them. But I do think after that shit kind of goes out the window when you start to talk to them and maybe you realize this person, we're not here mentally. Our values aren't the same, or the attitude isn't right. Our goals aren't aligned. And I do think that when he says here about it doesn't matter the race, doesn't because of your race basically doesn't mean we're gonna do business. I understand, but with Deontay Wilder, I'm not really sure at that point in time what more Eddie Hearn could have done for him, except use him as a tool to build Anthony Joshua's profile. Then he goes on and says, I think some of us are tired of being cornered by so-called smart brothers using race to cheat on their own people by isolating them more. Now, of course, I'm not using race, smart brothers using race to isolate them more. Now, you're talking about Al Haymon, Wilder, and smart brothers using race. I'm not sure Al Haymon was... I haven't seen anything for me to say Al Haymon was using race to isolate anyone. If you could scrap, you were signed to PBC, Al Haymon was trying to push you. I've heard fighters, all races from all over the world who are signed to PBC think Al Haymon. They all think Al Haymon. So I don't know if I really agree with that, but I do understand what he's saying, where you meet these people, some of these people who just have bad intentions towards you, but they try to prey on your trust in them because you guys may be similar religion, similar race, ethnic origin, speak the same language, whatever it may be. They do have people out there who too smart for their own good, and they will try to take advantage of you. That is a fact. I've seen that shit a lot, especially when I was out there in the military. You saw that shit with these idiots who try to play that shit. I'm telling you, it's what he's saying is real stuff. But when it comes to Al Haymon and Deontay Wilder, I'm not so sure that Al Haymon was trying to take advantage of him. I do think right now, with the point things are at, that Deontay Wilder's best move was to go elsewhere to get the help he needed, and to not worry too much about some bro code bullshit. At the end of the day, they had to do what's best for them and their careers. And for Wilder, you can see over there at PBC, obviously, fighters aren't as active as they would like to be. So Wilder definitely had to jump ship. And his deal with PBC ended a while ago. So Wilder's a free agent, and he's an agent that moving freely now. And I think he's with probably the best promoter at this time, Eddie Hearn. Says we saw Tyler Perry do it, Don King did it. I don't know much about Tyler Perry. I know Don King was a hustler. He even came out and said, hey, I robbed them, so I did them so bad I made them all millionaires. But Don King made himself a multi-millionaire. That stuff was limiting. He says, now Wilder is making more money per fight than he ever made in a decade in the name of race, PBC. Well, I mean, the kind of money people are making right now is because Turkey Al-Sheikh is on the scene. The Saudis are on the scene. They're not behind the scenes anymore. They're right out in front, in your face, on Front Street. And the Saudis are taking care of fighters. I don't think that could have happened any sooner for Wilder because the Saudis weren't really out there like that. I'm not saying there's a connection between Kinahan and the Saudis as far as what's going on right now, but I do think I think the Saudis know who Kinahan is. I think they know him very well. And you look at all the stuff that was going on back in Saudi and Super Six and not the Super, the one that what's his name participated in, Usyk, right? There were a couple boxing events in Saudi, and I do think that I know for a fact Kinahan was behind a lot of that. It was in Saudi, so there's a relationship there. But I just don't think Wilder could have been making this kind of money if he would have hooked up with Eddie Hearn, 5-6 years ago. 7 years ago. I just don't think so. But the bottom line is right now, he's a big name in the sport of boxing. Big name as a heavyweight. The heavyweight division is the highlight division of boxing, and Deontay Wilder is a player, and that's how come he's been invited over there. If Wilder was not a player, he wouldn't be over there. Charles Martin ain't over there. You know what I'm saying? So Wilder has earned the right to be over there, fighting on those cards. And even if he was signed with PBC, I think they would have invited him over, and I think he would have been allowed. I really do. Making more money that he's ever made. Again, I just think it's timing, Turkey Al-Sheikh, everybody's making more money than they ever made. Hope Tank wakes up soon. Tank just signed a big deal over there with Al Haymon. 67 fight deal for 190. But I do think they should allow Tank, or Tank should at least want to go over there and at least entertain Turkey Al-Sheikh and not come out here talking about send me 2 Ferraris, I just think that shows the wrong mentality. But at the same time, if Tank is comfortable where he's at, he's making a whole lot of money. There's no need for him to go out there now and, mess around in Saudi Arabia. He says that ego will not only make you poor, but regret your life when it's all set. That is true. It does apply to a lot of people. But in Tank's situation, I think he should go over there and fight just for the experience. But at the same time, Tank's not stupid. And even if it was me, and they were trying to bring me over there, let's say they were to give me 2 Ferraris and $100 million, you'd have my attention. But if you want me to fight Devin Haney, I think I beat him. But at the same time, we know Devin is their guy. If you're trying to bring me over to fight your guy, and Eddie Hearn is somewhat involved, and the way Tank feels about Eddie Hearn and ped tests and cheating, and there's no trust. There's no trust there. And Tank is a guy who comes from that kind of environment where you recognize that in people, and you just avoid them. So I can't blame him for saying 100 million sounds cool, but I'm making 40, 50 over here. So I'd rather have peace of mind making this 40, 50 than mess around out there for 80 and not be comfortable and possibly going to the fight and lose. So I understand. But as far as people being broke, well, of course these guys aren't, but the bro code, man, I do think that I think it's stupid for someone to believe that someone who's from the same state, country, someone who's the same race, same religion, same political beliefs, religious beliefs, to think that they're going to treat them somewhat better than somebody else. That's not true. As far as Wilder and what's going on in his career, if he beats Jane, I think he should keep working with Eddie Hearn. I do. And the reason is, Eddie Hearn, right now, is the promoter. He's well connected, and all of his fighters that he works with, he keeps them active and he gets them paid. Deontay Wilder, if he's going to keep boxing, he needs to be active. He needs to make good money. That's what he wants. There's no one else in boxing who can really do that for him. Frank Warren, maybe, but Eddie Hearn is that guy. Al Haymon is not that guy right now. Oscar De La Hoya, definitely not that guy. You know, when I was in the military, I talked about this before. The guy was like, yo, if you want to be successful, you got to be on the A side. There's the A side, and then there's all others. I was like, what's this A side? He's like, the people who are in position to where your name comes up, they can push your name up so you can go on and get to the next level. So you need to have people like that on your side, just looking and waiting to see your records come through, so they can be like, make sure that they can show some bias and influence decisions to make sure if there are people on that board that say, nah, he's not ready, they can come say, no, he is, and I push for this guy and try to convince him. And I was like, nah, if it takes that, I'm not doing that, because I'm going to get there based on my own effort. And I'm going to tell you right now, once I recognized attitude is everything. Your effort is everything. Getting out your comfort zone and challenging yourself to do things. That was everything. And 7 out of 10 times I got what I needed. Got what I was supposed to, what I earned. The other 30%, that's the politics and shit. I didn't get it. But it didn't hurt me. It was frustrating at times, but I still went all, I couldn't go any further. I went all the way. Only 1% of people do what I did. So when I listened to this shit, I didn't get to where I reached based on any bro code shit. I got there based on attitude and just my commitment level to the things I was doing, from work to myself to fitness to taking care of my people to being involved in the community to education. You know, I was 100% in everything. Some people give 100% in 3-4 areas. I did 100% in everything. And I think no matter what you're doing in life, if you can give 100% to everything that you have control over, the things you don't have control over, you'll still get what you want out of that if you were controlling it. Not all the time, but more times than not. So with Deontay Wilder, you can see the attitude's a little bit different now. Eddie Hearn's attitude's a little bit different now towards Wilder. So that's helping the relationship. Eddie Hearn has his vision about what he wants as far as with his heavyweights, the direction he wants to take them in Matchroom. Wilder fits perfectly into that. Wilder needs somebody who can help him because he no longer really has that machine behind him. And so it's a complementary relationship. It's a win-win for Eddie, win-win for Wilder. And if Wilder beats Zhang, I do think he should stay over there with Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn's connected. This is that shit I'm talking about. The A side. Eddie Hearn is the A side. Frank Warren is the A side. Bob Arum is the A side. PBC is not the A side. They're more of a C side. De La Hoya more of a CB side. You know what I'm saying? So the top rank, because of the connection to Saudi, they're more of a B side. So I think Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, the A side. Top rank, they're more of a B side. Golden Boy and PBC are the C side. And Wilder is now hooked up with an A side. And good things happen when you're on that A side. And the thing is, I had the A side people help me a lot, but I didn't force myself on them. They just saw the way I handle business. And they were like, yo, this guy deserves this and that. And I think that's what we're going to see with Wilder, especially if he gets the win. So all the people out there hating on Wilder, and because I see the comments people make, man, everything comes down to race out here. That shit is crazy to me. Everything is race. It's like, sometimes it's not even fun doing these videos. Everything is race. Oh, you're just this because he's a black man. You're this because he's white. Or you this, or you a sellout. You're Uncle Tom. You a this. It's like, yo, the people who put these comments out here, where y'all come from, man? Serious. Where y'all come from? And see the shit they've been saying about Deontay Wilder. Again, it makes me wonder, man, where y'all come from? Because this shit about bro code and all that shit's dumb. It's all about doing what you can to get your money and being comfortable. And Wilder seems to be very comfortable in that piece as far as with his boxing career. And we'll see if he can pull it off this weekend. But as far as this gentleman right here, Toppin team, I think I appreciate your comment. Because if people will stop and really try to understand what you're saying. You're not trying to say anything negative. You're not trying to stir the pot. It's an observation you made, and obviously you feel a kind of way about things. And it's not just boxing related. And I think you have good intention with what you said here. But my mentality is different. Some people just look and see that, and they'll just start trying to shred you and rip you and say a bunch of horrible things. But it is what it is, right? But anyway, I do think, F this bro code bullshit. Go out there and be around people who are going to care about you and want the best for you and you and your family. Simple. And sometimes it's not always people who look just like you. And that's what it is. In the breeze.